So having a think about the potential impact of programmatic on the wider industry, I mean that's a big question. It's a massive area, and I think it's big because it touches on one or two really interesting areas that are very hot topics at the moment. The first is around big data, and clearly the biggest opportunity today is the availability of insight, real consumer insight, which ultimately that is what data is. If you use it, if you organise it intelligently and use it effectively.
Really the impact of programmatic on the media agencies is going to be fundamental. I know lots of people discuss whether or not, you know, what percentage of spend will become programmatic or not. I think that's a redundant question now. I think all spend will in some shape or form be traded programmatically. And you know, there's a efficiency side to that equation, but there's really the data is the, you know, technology is enabling all this, but it's the data that interests the agency. So data will become the planning currency that the sort of planning community and the agencies will be working with.
So we can execute campaigns through programmatic, but we can also gain a lot of insight about individuals through their behaviors. And that is starting to complement, you know, whether it's our first-party research that we do or external research that we have, but it's giving us more insight about people, which gives us then the ability to leverage that more for the strategic choices that we're making for our clients.
You know, historically they've used offline data sets to create pen portraits and profiling. Now we're going to move to a real-time activation of data across all their media channels. We're already talking radio and TV, and so, you know, it's going to be all-consuming, just as digital was back in 2000.
As I see it, precision marketing on television, I think, you know what, it represents one of the biggest opportunities for television organisations. I think it's an amazingly exciting time to be in television at the moment because content is better than it's ever been before, and the sellers of television advertising are getting closer to content. That's smart. But obviously, as I've talked about, this idea of precise marketing, those doors are being opened up all of the time within television, whether it's a different type of partnership with ITV, whether it's the amazing progress that Sky and partners have made around AdSmart, the broader understanding of consumer behaviour around Sky IQ, for example. Channel 4 are really becoming a really smart data business. And all of those businesses are naturally digital businesses. The content is now available online, and that starts to touch on the consumption of content across all these different platforms.
So the impact on television, I don't think it's going to be a case where we see suddenly everything in TV being delivered in the same way as it is in display and so on. But you know, we've got to stop looking at, if you look at someone now who accesses TV, they're looking at catch-up TV on their tablet, they're maybe watching on the phone, they're watching on the TV. It's really just about they're interested in the content, and then where they watch it doesn't really matter. So more and more of the TV spend is going to be accessible in a way that we can start to target people more specifically.
I don't think that you know, linear television is at all going to go away. I do think there's a couple things that are happening though, which is as more digital video inventory is available within exchanges and quality inventory is available within exchanges, we will continue to look to programmatic to complement our linear television campaigns, certainly. I also think what we're seeing is companies like Starcom Media, as an example, that is leveraging and bringing programmatic thinking to linear television. So buying audiences, not buying content. And I think that fundamentally is where we will be going. I don't think that it will ever get away from the role of what television can bring, which is at the end of the day, they are the best storytellers. They create amazing professional content that many brands want to associate with that content. So we often need to think about what is the role of video. Is it about just delivering media pressure and, you know, at the right time in the right place, or is it about also leveraging the content that we can bring to the brand to actually enhance that brand's own equity?
I think what programmatic has done and what data and technology has done has meant that advertisers have become aware now that, you know, their planning currency should be that real-time data. So now what everyone is doing in the TV world is looking at how can they, instead of just doing the broad demo campaigns, they're looking at how can we be more targeted about a particular product, which suits products that are very specific, right? If you're selling soap, that's fine. You can do big brushstroke campaigns. If you're selling insurance to only to people who are renting their homes, then addressable TV might be the answer for you because you can target them directly.
It's not just about digital automation. If you think we've always been acting in a programmatic way as a business, so we've got the opportunity to combine all of our activation capabilities and be even more precise in everything we do. So data-led delivery influences radio, out of home, television, as much as it does digital advertising, now and over the next couple of years. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity. That could potentially be transformational for how we organize ourselves.
I mean, agencies, publishers, you know, really the whole industry needs to start with the people. That you need people who understand this mindset, or at least you need to train people to understand this mindset first and foremost. Because, you know, as we talk with publishers, if they don't have people on their side who can talk sensibly about data and technology, then it's very difficult to have a sort of sophisticated conversation about how you drive the strategy forward. So it's the same in the agencies. They have to increase the skill sets in this space, and obviously, you know, we work very closely as Audience on Demand, and we contribute to that and we empower that as well. So it's got to start with the people.
You know, from an agency standpoint, I think it's really affecting our business in two ways. It's affecting the composition of what our talent is doing. So let me be specific on that. You know, when you think about advertising campaigns and digital campaigns, you know, we had people that were, you know, planning the campaigns, sending out the RFPs, negotiating the deals, trafficking, doing all of the evaluation. We can now use automation to free up a lot of that, because instead of working with hundreds or thousands of media owners, we can actually aggregate a lot of that through a trading desk. And so what that enables us to do is redeploy those individuals that were maybe doing lower value tasks into higher value tasks that are more around holistic strategy, consumer insights, and so on.
Interestingly, we carried out some unique media, second year of unique media owner research last week. The most exciting and the most important part to those 120 media owners' businesses over the coming years was programmatic. So over 62% of the people interviewed felt that that was the case. But what was really interesting was that the majority of the people interviewed also felt that education was required. So I think there's a key theme. The partnership exists between a media owner, the agency, and the client. And we have to understand the value of data to deliver this precision, this precise marketing, of which programmatic is a key element. And ultimately, it has to be seen as something that isn't about cost reduction, a commodity, but something that adds value. If we can deliver a service that changes the behavior of a customer to the benefit of our client's business, then clients will want to pay for that. So I don't think it's necessarily an issue of transparency. I think it's an issue of education and the value that us and our media partners can deliver on behalf of a client.
We have a point of view around programmatic, and every holding company is going to have a different approach and does have a different approach. We've taken a very agnostic approach to technology, in the sense that we don't align ourselves with any single technology or DSP or DMP, but we enable ourselves then to have the ability to, as technology changes, we can change right along with that technology, which gives us the ability to access any marketplace. So that's the first thing, is just a fundamental approach to how we're going to set up our programmatic offering. The second is really thinking about, you know, what is the how do we organize our strategic and planning function at the agency versus our buying and execution function, and how can we use automation and programmatic to simplify, streamline, and drive some efficiencies in that. And then I think the last piece is partnerships. So how do we go about and have strategic partnerships with a few key suppliers and partners that are bringing and enhancing what we have to make our insights better, to make our delivery better, to make the technology better?
We're doing a number of things to organize ourselves to take advantage of this. Partly the journey's already started, so the journey started arguably 5 years ago in London, where we started a journey of digital transformation, which basically means you build the breadth of capability in your business. So that now over half of our revenue comes from digital channels, which means we are starting to become more naturally data-led. We're also changing and challenging the partnerships that we have, and Cannes a great example of that. So we're starting to, our relationships with digital and traditional media owners are often data-led now. There's still massive value in negotiation and kind of that added value, but really being a partner around consumer insight and data means that we just have more information in our business to become smarter. And the third bit is around talent. So having a consistent education, learning and development program that tries to make kind of data and insight something that all 580 people in London own, not just 10 people in a data team. And I think that's really, really important. And we're being recognised for that. We've just been awarded platinum accreditation for the IPA for the 4th year running, so one of the only agencies to do that. So the industry's acknowledging our steps in this area as well.